All right, everyone. Welcome.
How's it going?
Hope everyone's doing okay.
We're live.
We are live.
Hope everyone enjoyed that beautiful Wayfarer's theme.
Yeah. Adventurous Respite by Ryan Baker. It's a classic.
Yeah, never get tired of that
An
one.
instant classic.
Absolutely.
I think I'll turn the music down just a little bit. Cool. Yeah, I think we'll just kind of hang out for a couple minutes. Let
everyone trickle in. We got a new kind of system for our live stream today. I know we were streaming it on 2 different platforms, so we have a combined chat up on the screen. So yeah, everyone can kind of read what's going on, and it'll be a little bit easier because I know we had some questions last time and we weren't exactly repeating the questions. So
plus it'll be nice for people to go back and watch later.
Yeah,
be able to see all the questions and the discussion going on. Hey Scott, how's it going?
How's it
Thanks
going,
for
Scott?
stopping by, Caleb. Good to see you.
For those of you who are Star Wars fans, be sure to check out the Bombad Cast.
That's Scott's podcast.
Yep, Scott's podcast, and yeah, you won't be sorry. How's everyone's day today? Going good?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, can't complain. We got a little bit of rain here, but you know, it's not too hot. What about you?
It's nice and sunny here in Oregon. It's probably right now probably about 70 something.
Oh,
which is nice. Which is decent. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
I'm in the
nice.
60s kind of guy.
Yeah.
Hey Jeff, how's it going?
How's it going? Hi Athena.
Hi Athena. He who is Matt, hello. The music I think probably for every one of these streams will always be medieval in music and fantasy in music by the Fighters, because it's free to use for streaming, so that's why we use it. Also it is nice.
Elizabeth asked, "Where's the rain?" I don't know. It rained for like a second here.
We had some rain here on Monday. Was it Monday? It was Monday or Tuesday, man. I was like, I'm so at peace in the rain. I just feel like,
I agree. I'm the same way.
So zen.
Hey Nick, how's it going?
Hi Nick.
I think if we've got everyone in, I want to kind of go over how the structure of this live stream is going to go. It's going to be a little different than last time. I think we wanted to make it a little bit shorter. I think last time was fun. We don't really have a big activity to do this time. But I think so the way we're going to do it is James and I just kind of have a bunch of bullet points to go over. You know, we're keeping it pretty brief, but you know, it's going to be easier for us if we kind of talk about stuff because we know what we want to talk about, but also we would absolutely love people to ask questions. So like literally if you hear us say something and you want to know more about it, just drop a question in the chat and we'll get to it. And then once we get through kind of our 4 big things we want to cover, we will have, you know, some more questions.
A little Q&A at the end.
And yeah, anything else we can think of. So that's kind of going to be the format this time. Still getting a few more people trickling in on Facebook. So
Matt, I agree. Free is an excellent price. Mackenzie, thank you for tuning in from work. Hope your boss doesn't get angry. Or maybe your boss is watching. Cool. Okay. Well, we got some... Oh my gosh, my wife is watching.
Oh, wow.
I gotta behave.
Is she in the house?
No, she's not in the house.
She's not watching from the other room?
Nope. She's watching from another room. In a different house. Cool. Okay, well, you want to start getting into things?
Yeah, sure. You want to start it off?
Sure. Sure. Okay, so our first little update is we want to talk about the Kickstarter rewards. All the rewards have been ordered. So we really did our homework before even starting the Kickstarter. So we had prototypes for everything, for all the rewards, all the physical rewards, I should say. So we were able to get everything ordered. The T-shirts are in a box sitting behind me. All 60 or 50 something T-shirts. And dice cups have been ordered, and they should be here by the end of this month.
Yeah, they're being custom made.
They are custom made, and I believe they're coming from California. And then we've got our tankards, which are also custom made. They're 3D printed wood, because they can do that now, which is wild. And they will be they're coming from the Ukraine, and so the guy who's doing them said it'll probably be just because all the shipping overseas during these crazy times is very long, so we're looking at probably 2 months, I think, out from when the tankards arrive. And then so once we start getting and then of course we have our prints being ordered, and
Yes.
So once we start getting packages, like things packaged together, we will start shipping things out. So essentially, once the posters and dice cups arrive,
Yeah, which should be soon.
yeah,
Should be
and
soon.
and once I finish moving, I'm currently in the middle of moving,
Yeah.
which is why my shelves behind me are so barren. Other than we've got Stormtrooper and Aridin from Witcher 3
It's the
up
last one to come down.
there. It's the last one.
That'll be the last thing in your house.
The Stormtrooper.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact: his name is Clarence. For any Murray Bros and Company fans out there.
Yeah, so pretty much everything is good to go. We've gotten it all a lot sooner than we thought. We were really worried with COVID and shipping and all that. So now we're just waiting on the last few things, and we're gonna be getting that out soon. A lot of people will be able to just hand it to, but some people will be shipping it, and just keep an eye on your email, and you'll hear about it soon.
Absolutely.
There's not any questions about Kickstarter stuff. I don't see why there would be, but we can get into
pretty simple. There's a couple of non-physical rewards that we've been reaching out about. Just keep an eye on our soch.
Yep.
And you will know.
All right. So next point of talking we want to get to is production status, because I think that is what everyone really wants to hear about.
Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah. Are you done yet? Is it done? Have you filmed it?
I wish.
The answer to that is no. We have
Absolutely not.
But there has been a lot of development. James and I have been working really, really hard. And for those of you who know us, you know how hard we've been working on this. We talked about this last time, but we were kind of given this blessing and a curse of COVID-19, in that it's a curse because we don't really know what our physical production is going to be like, because at this point we can't.
Yeah, there's no way we can
to film safely, because
if we were at a place where we were ready to film, we still wouldn't be able to, because we want to do everything as safely as possible. I don't want anyone to get sick on our account. And we've heard big productions are able to pay people to quarantine for 2 weeks, and they're me and John have been doing a lot of research, reading about this stuff, and we've seen people, productions spending $300,000 just on COVID rapid testing alone.
Yeah.
And that's a billion times more money than we have for this. So
exactly. So that is kind of that's kind of been the curse of this. The blessing has been this has kind of made James and I slow things down a little bit in terms of story. I mean, we from the start wanted to have like the best story we possibly could, and kind of when we went into this, that was my one point of contention, is that I wanted to make sure that if we do this, we do this the right way, and we
Absolutely.
make a really good story. And so we have had a lot of time to flesh everything out, develop characters, develop what we want. We've had time to research, and so that's kind of what we've been doing, because our original story idea that we kind of came into this project with 2 years ago, James's original script, we have adapted it probably 2 or 3 times, and so we just finished probably on Friday our final treatment of the story, which means we are completely happy with the way the story is, we are completely happy with the characters, we are happy with the plot points, and now all that's left is the actual script. And so that's a treatment, is basically the entire story but without dialogue, so it's just kind of written more in prose and more narratively. And so we have just completed that.
It should be said that we were in the middle of writing, and we were probably about I don't know, what do you think, a quarter of the way through our first draft.
We had the story complete, like we had already done it. We had done an outline, a treatment, and we were about a third of the way through our script, and
it just was not working. Essentially, one of the characters had to get from point A to point B, back to point A, all within this time frame, and it was just not working.
And it was huge.
It was huge. It was long. It would have been
ambitious,
very ambitious, and a lot more locations. And some of our main characters weren't getting the spotlight that they deserve, and so John and I, we just were like, you know what? This is not working. This is gonna suck if this is.
We were not. I mean, James and I, when we write, we try not to take into account budget, because I like to write not thinking about the budget, but then when you're in the review stage, go through and edit everything, and then be like, okay, we can't. This is obviously too much. This is not enough. We can't film this on our budget. So we didn't want to do that. But unfortunately, when we were getting to this point, that was one of the big things, is like, I was like, I hate to be this guy, but we're going all in on this, and this is probably not going to be possible to do half of these things. As cool as they would be, it's just not feasible, especially right now, but yeah, you can continue.
It just and so we John and I are very open to each other about telling each other, nope, that sucks, or sorry, we're nicer than that, but it's usually, what's the term we use? Hate it.
Yeah, no, I hate that.
I hate it. And so the last probably 3 weeks we've been breaking story, and we're really meticulous about it. We want to make sure, like Coleman says, just no Game of Thrones endings. God, I hope
we got a little bit before we got to worry about Tavern Brawl ending.
That's true. But starting a pilot, you want to. There's lots of little threads. You want to have your big main thread. This is the main story. But a good narrative has all these little tiny feelers that kind of go out all over the place.
Exactly.
And not only give the audience, it keeps them intrigued. And it's like, oh, I wonder if that thing is going to pay off later. So these are things we've been thinking about.
Yeah. And so we pretty much had a very major rewrite. One of our biggest things that we wanted to take into account is we want our first story in our pilot to feel small. Yeah. And we want to tell a big story, but in a small and cozy setting, because, all of our favorite, stories and books and movies and shows, we love very character-driven, small stories. And we kind of just decided that we wanted everything, in the first episode to kind of be central to the tavern, because the tavern is our main location and that it is kind of the home of our story. And so we figured that the tavern should kind of almost, be its own character, and it should be predominantly featured in at least our pilot episode, because you have to give everyone some sense of normalcy. And it helps because that is going to be, an expensive set for us to build, and having everything take place there. Not everything. I mean, we still have we will have other locations and sets, but the tavern. So now we have rewritten the story to be smaller. It's a little bit shorter. I mean, it's still going to be,
it'll be an hour.
Yeah, 45 minutes to an hour, and we have everything central to the tavern now, which we're much happier with. And when we finished writing this draft of the treatment, we both looked at each other and just said, yeah, we're both really happy with it. We both, are very, we all the characters have an equal amount of, action and plot and story, and they thread together nicely, and each character has a lot of decisions to make, whereas, our first iteration felt just more like
it was just we weren't spending the time that we needed to with the characters, and it was like we need to get Ayla to here, to here, to here, to here.
Exactly.
All back to the tavern at the end, and it was just like, okay, well, we're rushing, like Cheers, but with swords.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe not as campy, I hope.
And magic. Yeah. So, that's where we're at story wise. If anyone has any other questions, we're going to get in. We have a whole section we're going to talk about actual story. We're going to tell you guys some new stuff about the story. But that was a major milestone for us, is finishing the treatment, because this is something we've been working on this story for 2 years. I mean, we have been through the ringer, and it's going to be fun when this is all said and done to go back and read, our first few drafts. Because it has changed so much.
Yeah, it really has. Yeah, a lot.
So, I guess that brings us. We talked a little bit about
COVID.
But our actual filming date. Right now, we are looking at filming early next year, and that is, that is entirely dependent on the COVID-19 situation. There's talks that there could be a vaccine by this time next year, and there's even talks that there can be some sort of rapid at-home testing, which either one of those options would allow us a lot of freedom and a lot more safety on set, because we don't have the budget that we can afford to pay a doctor to be on set and testing people and quarantining people, and we just can't do that.
Just no way.
And then we can't have people wearing masks and standing 6 feet apart when we're trying to film something. So
the crew can.
Yes, I'm talking about the actors.
Yeah, but the actors, on the other hand, just
and so
unless we set everything in the plague and everyone's wearing plague doctor masks.
Yeah, I would like to avoid that. But
we don't want to do that. So
so our schedule right now is on track for filming, January, February of next year. Our original filming dates was fall of this year, but as we can tell, most likely that won't happen. So that is kind of where we're at there. We're not, we want to film it as soon as possible, but we also don't want to start filming until we're 100% ready. And because it's just James and I right now doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We have a lot to do before we actually press record on the camera. We have to do a lot of production design. We have to screenwrite. We have to cast. We have to build sets. We have to, do costumes. There's a lot that goes into it. So,
and some of those things we have started.
Yes, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, we have started very tiptoeing into production design. We really want Tavern Brawl to stand out from your typical medieval fantasy. I don't want you to look at Tavern Brawl and say, yeah, okay. This looks like every other medieval fantasy thing. So what we're going for is almost like we're going to be a lot of the costumes and production design is going to be kind of steeped in some 18th, 17th century costumes and clothing and
kind of colonial.
Yeah, a little bit of colonial in there. And so we've been doing a lot of research and looking into, kind of what. And when we say 18th to 17th century, I don't mean like frills.
Yeah.
I hate frills. Frills are not happening. But things that like normal people wore in the 17th and 18th centuries. And so, we also have canonically that technology is further advanced than kind of in a medieval place. There's sewer systems, there's pianos and clockwork and gears, stuff like that. So we really want Tavern Brawl to have its own feel, and when you see it, you go, oh, that's obviously Tavern Brawl.
Exactly.
And I've been talking with my parents, who are going to be working on some costume stuff for us. And we should actually be starting a prototype of the uniforms for a specific military order that we will be talking about in just a little while.
Yep. So yeah, we've kind of gotten going on the production design. I mean, going into this, James and I have had a lot of ideas about production design, and there's things we've talked about, things that are going to be in the world, weapons that people will use, and so. There's a lot of little things, and that's kind of what production design is, things that just make you feel like you're in this world, and it's noticeable that this is Tavern Brawl, and it's not anything that you look at and you're confused and stuff like that. And so I think one of our biggest challenges with that is going to be making sure everything can look as good as possible on our limited budget.
On our very limited budget.
So that's going to be a lot of work on our part, but we are very committed to making sure that when we turn on the camera, we don't say, hey, that's a costume.
Yeah, that's John and I talk about that pretty often, where it's like you can tell when something looks like a costume because you instantly are like,
that's a costume.
That's a costume.
And it's nothing specific, even though if it looks great, there's just, some kind of authenticity that they have. And it's usually, through some kind of aging process or wearing and so that's one of those things, because costumes are so important. People don't give costumers enough credit, but, that is your first impression of a character and your continuing impression of a character. So, yeah, so we're going on production design. It's kind of on the back burner to the script right now, but as we start finishing up the script, the costume and production design and set and all that will start ramping up, and we're going to have a lot of work cut out for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so going to our next point here, we're bringing on another producer that is going to help out mostly when we're actually filming and on set. And for those who were on the Tavern Brawl set, his name's Eric Cotterman. He was our sound guy on our main set, and he's been with us since the beginning. He's a good friend of mine. And James and I know that when we're on set, we are not going to be able to do everything. And so we are going to need somebody else in the room who knows what's going on. And we figured, why not it be somebody who's been with us from the start. He cares about this project, almost as much as us, and he is really excited to help us out on set.
Yeah, and the reason we wanted to do that is because last time we did do everything ourselves.
Yes, it was just way too much.
I was doing the set and the costumes and the props and directing and
I was doing lighting, camera, also kind of directing, doing script supervision, ordering food. It's too much. It's to be the only two people in the room.
And I think while the Wayfarer I'm very proud of it, it did suffer from that.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, this was the first time, I've worked on sets before, but this was the first major, thing. And we didn't quite have enough time to film. And I'm still happy with what we got, but Absolutely. I think that we really suffered from not delegating more. And James and I have talked a lot about that when we're on the set and if we are both, trying to direct, we need to make sure that our entire focus is on the action that is happening, or else it'll suffer. Because if I'm busy worrying about lights, camera, what we're eating for lunch, when this cast member is getting to set, then I can't have my full attention onto the actor's performance.
What's going on? Yeah.
So through those talks, we've realized that we're
gonna need more people to help us out on.
Yeah, and we will absolutely, as time goes on, we will be having a lot more people coming on board with our crew. We hope we have an awesome crew, and we're really looking forward to it. But we have Eric in now, and as we start getting more into talking about production, we're gonna get him more involved, and we might even have him on our next live stream or two. We'll see. And you want to go over the next point, James?
Yeah, so for locations, we are in talks with a wonderful couple who own a very large piece of property, a very big farm. And so we've actually been in talks with them for a few months now. Probably since March.
Yeah, since the very beginning of COVID.
Yeah. And so we're kind of finalizing things with them. And so we'll have for our outside set, we will have something very beautiful. It's got a gorgeous lake on the property, and
we were really lucky. We were really lucky with that location.
Absolutely. We are still, obviously, we're not actively looking for a warehouse to build the tavern in right now, but we are keeping our eyes open in case a really good deal pops up. So if anyone has a great warehouse that's just kind of sitting here in Oregon,
we would absolutely be interested. Anyone unfortunately we're not looking until probably beginning of next year. I mean, we're looking, but it's really hard to look right now and tell someone, hey, we may or may not be leasing this in 6 months. It's because commercial properties flip like that, and so
we did find a warehouse that we almost decided to start renting a couple months ago, and I'm so glad we didn't decide to do that. John was the voice of reason there.
Glad we didn't sign any leases before COVID hit, but we are still actively looking. I'm not as worried about it because I know that I think we'll be able to find something, and it's just I'm just gonna hope that we can find something in our budget, because the less we have to pay for renting a warehouse, the more we get to put into our budget and paying people and stuff like that. So
Eric says CMK energy will be pouring from this guy.
Oh, nice. And yes, this is sponsored by Yerba Mate.
Thank you, Yerba Mate.
Send me.
They could send us a check.
Yes, send me a check and a case of your tea, and I'll be happy. But so that's really our update for production. It has not begun in terms of actual production. We're really excited to start it.
We really cannot wait, and we hope that that it's enjoyable and it's not going to be some horrible headache where we got people.
Getting
essentially, best news would be if there was a vaccine, and that'll be wonderful. But we're preparing for that to not happen.
Hoping for the best, preparing for the worst.
Absolutely.
So that's our production update. If you have any questions about it, feel free to drop it in the chat.
Absolutely.
We're going to move on. You can still ask questions, but we're moving on to the story. We have some exciting tidbits to share with everyone. And this is kind of our first time since we have like solidified our story. This is going to be our first time really talking about our story and talking about our characters with kind of a little more confidence. So yeah, let's jump in.
All right. So we talked about Oscar and Ayla in the last stream and in our Kickstarter video and stuff. But yeah, so Oscar and Ayla, but just a little refresher for them. They are brother and sister. They together own the Wayfarer's Rest Tavern in a town called Mulberry. The town is doing very well because it is the last stop into the valley over to the coast, and it is the first stop back. So it's a 2-week journey through this pass, and so a lot of people stop there while going through the pass, and then a lot of people, that's the first place they get to. So it's always bustling. So it's doing really well for the most part, except in recent times there's been these rumors of these slavers and bandits on the road, which is kind of halting these merchant caravans from coming through. So Oscar and Ayla, they're kind of going through this thing where they're not doing, the tavern itself isn't doing great, and they're introduced to something called the Brawl tax, which is something the lord of the town instates to discourage barroom brawls and back alley fights and things like that. So Oscar, he's kind of I'll say this every time I think of Oscar. There's this picture of Ben Affleck smoking a cigarette, and he just looks so beat down. That is Oscar. And Ayla is she's young, and she when their parents passed away, Oscar was in charge. He's the older brother, so suddenly he's in charge of this business, and he's in charge of taking care of his younger sister, and so all this kind of weight has settled on his shoulders. And so he's kind of, he used to have these great ambitions and dreams, and it's kind of like had to take the back burner because of his responsibilities. Whereas Ayla, those responsibilities weren't laid on her shoulders, and so, she kind of feels trapped in this place, and she wants something more from life, and she doesn't think that being a tavern keep is not fulfilling for her. Rye asks, what is the age gap? Probably about 6 years, maybe.
5 or 6 years.
I mean, she was probably 10, and he was 16.
Mm-hmm. So a decent age gap. I mean,
they're also half siblings. So they have the same mom, but they have different dads.
Yeah. Yeah, and so next character I wanted to talk about was Greywall. I know Greywall is our favorite character, and he's the one we talk about the most.
Yes, absolutely.
But we've worked on Greywall a lot because we've tried to figure out where is Greywall at in our story. His life, yeah. We've seen him in the Wayfarer. We're introduced to him. We've set up his character. We don't know anything about him besides the fact that this is not a spoiler, but he is a Wayfarer. If you didn't catch that from our short film.
If you didn't catch that, then
Greywall is a Wayfarer.
Here's the spoiler.
And so, we have had trouble with Greywall's character just for the fact that he is such a kind of an enigma of a character. And so we wanted to make sure that we could have that kind of character in our story, but still have him be interesting and versatile and, have a lot going on in the story that's not just him sitting there, kind of what he did in the Wayfarer, just being a grumpy old dude. And so in our first iteration, we weren't quite happy with where Greywall's character was going. And so now in this version, we're much happier with Greywall's character. And so Greywall has been on the road a while. He's kind of defeated. He's kind of given up on life. He's, turned to the drink a little too much, but he is searching for someone,
Someone.
and we're going to find a little bit more about that when he arrives in our story. But ultimately, Greywall is going to be introduced pretty quickly into our story, and he's going to be a very big part of Tavern Brawl and a very big part of the pilot episode. In fact, an integral part, I should say.
Absolutely. And something John and I talked about a lot, and what we really struggled with Greywall was he was a very passive character.
Exactly.
And
the story was happening to him.
Yeah. So something that's that we think about is, are the characters making the choices that are driving the story, or is the story dragging them along?
Mm-hmm.
And when a story is dragging a character along, it doesn't feel very fulfilling.
Feels bad.
And it's okay to have passive characters. And it's an interesting arc when they go from being a passive character to a driving force, making their own decisions. But Greywall was incredibly passive in our first draft, and it just did not feel good.
Yeah, because in general, you can have main characters that are passive characters.
Yeah.
But at some point in your story, they have to become an active character. And I think the best example of that is if you've seen Game of Thrones, you look at the character of Sansa Stark.
Yeah.
She starts off very, very passive. Every single thing that happens to her
it's not her fault.
It happens to her. She does not make any decisions that change her story.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, halfway through, she changes to an active character. And the only reason that works so well is because there's so many main characters in Game of Thrones. But we were not happy with how big of a character Greywall was to our story and how passive of a character he is. So we've given Greywall a lot of very fun moments, a lot of great character decisions that make him more interesting. And we've given him a lot of choices he has to make and a very... just some very interesting interactions with all of our characters. So I think everyone's gonna be really happy with Greywall. He's our favorite character.
Hands down.
Yeah, we're excited to write it, and we've got some really fun stuff planned for him.
Okay, so then moving on, a character we've never talked about before.
The grand reveal.
The grand reveal. We have a character whose name is Kira, and she is she's an interesting part of the plot because she's not a part of the tavern plot. Kira is outside of the tavern, and she's kind of our window into the world at large, of what's going on in the world. And she's very she's the tavern is such a small scope in comparison to the world at large. And the reason we're doing that is because that's just how life is normally. You're concerned, I am concerned with the things going on around me all the time. And of course, in this day and age when we have so much information just readily available to us, and that is changing, but typically what you're most concerned about is your bubble. And when I started coming up with the idea for Tavern Brawl, I wanted it to be like, I was so tired of seeing the story of, all right, the world is in danger and we must save the world. And it's like, okay, I mean, that is fun to watch, but I think it's more interesting to explore the character's personal world, And so while that's going on, we have this sort of B plot panning out to show you what's going on outside of the tavern. And that's where Kira comes into play.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit last time about Kira. We didn't quite introduce her. But she is our fourth main character.
Yeah.
So we have Oscar, Ayla, Greywall, and Kira. And all of our characters are connected in some way. We're not going to really talk too much about that, but this is a character whose storyline is very much going to affect what is happening in the tavern and, coincide at some point. And I don't want anyone to think that, we're just making these two random stories, but they are very much affect each other.
And they're interwoven.
And they're interwoven very well. And we're really excited about our Kira character because she's someone that we've been working on from the start. And she's been probably the most difficult character to write because she is the most different from our other characters. And we have a lot of very cool ideas for her arc and where to take her. But she is roughly the same age as Ayla, maybe a little bit younger. We're still working on the details of that, but we do know that she's a young girl. She's got her own storyline, and she is going to be a very, very interesting character, and she's been really fun to write so far. Especially, she has other characters in her bubble as well that she's traveling with, so
yeah, it'll be fun to explore that.
Yep. You want to talk a little bit about the Wayfarers?
So obviously, if you have seen the Wayfarer, we explained kind of what the Wayfarers were. They were this order of traveling sorcerers. They were like kind of half sorcerers, half knights almost, and they would travel the roads and defend the weary and protect those who needed protecting. Kind of very honorable folk. And so through the Wayfarer and the Betrayal War, we learned about that they were, their order is pretty much nearly wiped clean. And the ones that are left have kind of, they kind of go into hiding. And our story takes place roughly about 200 years after the end of the Betrayal War. So, over the years, they've kind of faded into sort of storybook myths. People talk about Wayfarers, and they're kind of there's a group that is attempting to change the narrative, and have been attempting to change the narrative of the Wayfarers, to kind of pose them more as a villain, when in reality they were much more of the good guys.
Yeah, so the Wayfarers, once, if you recall back to our animated bit in the Wayfarer, we talked about the Betrayal War and how ultimately the queen was defeated, and she was cast to the sea, and a lot of the Wayfarers perished in that war. And the ones who remained were essentially hunted down because of this Order of Dawn. They, like James said, attempted to change the narrative and push magic users and all those who do magic into a negative light.
Yeah.
And so they were very much vilified by this group, to the point that not only were they hunted down, and but that was the entire purpose, or one of the purposes of this order being established by the council, is, hey, because we saw the devastation that the magic that the siphons did, we do not want anyone to be able to use magic anymore, and this is such a dangerous thing that this one person could become this powerful and cause all this damage, that let's just rip the band-aid off and get rid of all the magic users. So that's kind of how this Order of Dawn, which is kind of a religious military organization, was started. It's been 200 years since that. There's really no, magic users are few and far between,
and to the normal folk,
almost lore.
Yeah. Sometimes that you'll hear about the Order executing a witch, in some town, in some backwater town. That's kind of how magic is.
Yeah,
heard about.
You could go your whole life and never see someone do magic, and so where we're at in our story now, it's been 200 years. Most of the magic users have been pushed to the corners of the society. Arctium is a extremely rare resource. It is being, collected and
it has
sold,
been and is still being,
and it is being destroyed. And so this order has kind of warped into what started off as like a council approved organization that was just doing what needed to be done into kind of their own military organization where they operate kind of outside the law, and they've kind of grown so big that it's hard to stop them. And think of it,
and they have political ties, and
think of it as like the Navy SEALs, except 20 times bigger, and they have as much influence and money as like a small country.
Yeah.
And so they are kind of able to operate and move around, and they are very much a threat to anyone who still practices magic, anyone who identifies as a Wayfarer or does any kind of sorcery. You are very, very afraid of this order, and if they get any wind of it, it's kind of like that person is never seen or heard from again. So that's kind of the threat that the Wayfarers, or what's left of the Wayfarers, and magic users of our world are facing.
Yeah.
And so James and I have been really working on this order. And if you want to talk about one of our other main characters.
So we have, because it's a military organization, there's ranks of people, and the rank that is in charge of seeking magic users out is called they're called Inquisitors. They come into towns and ask lots of questions, interrogate lots of people, and eventually, they'll ferret out, some old woman who is brewing potions for, fertility potions or whatever. And so right off the bat, we'll be introduced to an Inquisitor named Ash, and she is searching for. She has gotten word that there is a Wayfarer nearby, and she is out looking for them. And she is a very serious, very stoic character who, that is her goal, to ferret out these magic users and get rid of them. And it's not necessarily, and I will say this, the Order is not necessarily looked upon in good light. They're kind of they're kind of scary.
And a good bit corrupt.
Yes, absolutely, and it just
that is something that has changed through the years.
Through the years, there's just been this rampant corruption that kind of in the upper echelons of the leaders of the Order of Dawn. Caleb says almost like the Children of Light. That is very similar, and something John and I have discussed and talked about, kind of how the Children of Light do things, and from the Wheel of Time, for those who don't know. And Raya says, I hate her already.
Oh, we do too. She definitely is going to serve as one of our main antagonists.
Yes.
Especially in the pilot episode, so you can look forward to that. She's going to be a really cool character, very ruthless, very strong, and we've had a lot of fun writing her, and she's been a very complex character so far. So, ultimately, we're still the entire her arc and the Order of Dawn we're still working through some of the kinks, but we're pretty happy with this organization and kind of where they're at and where the world is at in terms of magic users, Arctium. The Order kind of has a almost religious stance against magic, where they are kind of brainwashed into saying that magic users are evil they're bad, and it is our God-given duty to get rid of magic from the world. So it is a military organization, but there is also these threads of religious
zealousy. Is that a word? Zealousy.
That sounds right. Zealousy. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with Inquisitor Ash. So
yeah,
I think that's most of the story that we're going to talk about right now. I think.
Did you want to talk about? There's one little bit right here that we haven't mentioned.
Oh, do you want to talk about the Paladins?
Yeah. So there's also another. There's also another like upper rank in the Order of Dawn, and they are known as the Paladins. And Paladins are just sort of this like elite, the elite of the elite soldiers, and they are actually decked out in full armor, and they're very imposing. If you're to see a Paladin, if you see an Inquisitor who is usually paired with a Paladin,
you better run.
There is something bad happening, and
you do not want to be there.
I hope you do not have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they're kind of like this scary, and so, and depending on village to village and town to town, the Order of Dawn kind of has a different feel. So there are some lords and nobles who get along very well with the Order of Dawn, and so they operate in that city kind of like they could act like town guards, and people like them. But in other places it's like
yeah, and one of the things we talked about is nobody likes a scary villain who is bad just to be bad.
No. Yeah.
And so these Paladins, they are these ruthless soldiers that have been trained from a young age, that they have also been essentially brainwashed by these Inquisitors, and by through this almost torture like training that has just cleared their mind of everything. And so they are so focused on what needs to be done. They are extremely obedient, and that makes them such ruthless warriors. And to become a Paladin, a lot of what some villages might see as like a noble thing. It's like, hey, this lord's son is going to become a Paladin, and he's going to volunteer and go through the training and rise through the ranks, and that is a very esteemed thing to be in the guard of a Paladin. It's almost like being Secret Service or something.
Yeah, it'd be like if you were a Navy SEAL.
A Navy SEAL,
as opposed to just in the Navy.
But that sentiment is not shared all around. Whereas some people might be taken as a young kid as a slave, and forced into the life of a Paladin, where they're brainwashed. They might find a kid with extreme athletic ability that's taller than the rest, and take them. And so there's a lot of different there's a lot of different beginnings for the Paladins, but ultimately they all end up in the same place, and they're usually unrelenting, unquestioning, and they do what needs to be done, which makes them ultimately a very, very big threat, and especially paired with an Inquisitor.
Alex McConnell says, looking forward to meeting her. We are too. We're very, very excited to cast her. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Inquisitor
Mr. Kishi, I'm getting Helga Sinclair vibes from Atlantis. Definitely. Yeah, just kind of like stoic, badass warrior woman. Absolutely. So I can see her getting taken down.
I hope.
We'll see.
She might be taking down everybody.
Yeah. He is Matt. So what is religion like in this world? That's something we've kind of... religion's hard to do, man.
Yeah.
So there is this... there's this idea of we call it the creation band, and it's a band that signifies how the world started. And so in the beginning, there was sky, earth, and sea. And they created the world, and then they decided to have children, and so let's see.
Very centered in Greek mythology.
And
I don't know if you're gonna be able to remember all this stuff.
Yeah. Let's see if I can.
We have it written down somewhere.
So Earth and Sea, their child was Ice, the goddess of ice, Galidia. Earth and Sky, their child was Igneous, god of fire, and then Sky and I fucked it up already, I think.
Yeah, if you can thank us, because this was what our original, the Wayfarer was originally going to be. That beautiful story we had Greywall telling the young girl with our animation. Our original story was going to be the creation story, and we just...
I have a band of creation here. This is our Tankards.
Oh yeah, I was telling them that our original plot of the Wayfarer was going to be Greywall telling this story. And I was like,
yeah.
And then we just decided it's
a good story, but it needs
too
to be
much
more. Okay.
Too much mumbo jumbo.
So, as you can see, this is a creation band. It comes full circle. So here you have Earth and Sky. So Earth and Sky, they create. Their child is Igneous, the god of fire. Sky and Sea, they create the god of storms, Nimbian, who in legend is the first Wayfarer. And then Sky and Earth have Galidia, the goddess of ice. And so there are these kind of elemental gods, and people worship, they can worship, they worship the earth for a good bounty. Fishermen, they say a prayer to the sea for, bountiful fishing, and then you give a prayer to Sky to...
And I think you should also talk about Nimbian just for a sec.
Yeah, so Nimbian, the god of storms, he's kind of a trickster god. He really loved playing jokes on his siblings, Galidia and Igneous, and they, at some point, one of those jokes got taken a little too far, causing Galidia and Igneous to start butting heads even more than they already did, because just by their nature, they sort of butt heads. And it eventually turned into sort of a war between Galidia and Igneous, and Galidia is gonna at some point finally kill Igneous, and Nimbian steps in and says, "No, this is my fault. You can't do this. Don't kill Igneous." And she is just far gone, and so Nimbian calls upon the storms, and a gust of wind so powerful throws her down into the earth, and she shatters, and that's what Arctium is the shattered remains of Galidia. So, and then of course the Order of Dawn is kind of a play on the Dawn Father, or Igneous, and they take kind of his teachings to heart. And then Nimbian was so distraught that he defended Igneous and
killed
his sister, that he became human and began to walk the roads to help people. And so that's
the beginnings of the Wayfarers.
That's the beginning of the Wayfarers. So yeah, there is some religion going on, and I think we need to work on it a little more.
Make it more practical.
More of a practiced religion and how people do it. And
yeah.
It's just something we haven't really gotten into, because
we're more focused on the characters at this point.
World building is a lot of fun, and
yeah, but it's not as important for the first episode as it is making sure you have a well-structured story.
Also, you want to do the world building through the characters.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's not like us telling you guys that is fun for us, but in terms of if we just had one character tell someone else that, you'd be sitting there watching the show going, That's okay, cool. Like, I'm gonna forget that in 10 seconds, and
Yeah,
it means nothing.
One thing John and I really talk about a lot is we want to avoid the classic fantasy trope where
Basically what James just did.
Yeah, where someone is just like
and this
mouth vomiting lore onto you, and it typically always happens right at the beginning, and the screen opens up on a map of the world, and it's like, in the kingdom of Corano, there was and we got to do that in the Wayfarer, which was fun. But for this, we want exposition to happen through the characters in a meaningful way.
We did it in the Wayfarer, but it wasn't. We kept the mumbo jumbo lore words to a minimum. We definitely dropped some words, but they're very important. We hope everyone knows what the Wayfarers are, what Arctium is, and there's a few other things that would be cool to remember. But for the most part, if you watch it once, you should be able to remember everything. So that's where kind of our story starts, in that we're going to start very small. We're not going to drop a lot of lore on people. We're not going to drop a lot of mumbo jumbo garbin, and so that just people are like, I'm already way out of my element with this, because one of the reasons the Game of Thrones was so successful is they started very much in a political aspect, where even if you don't care, and that's why so many people I know that are not fantasy people got into Game of Thrones, because they were introduced slowly through these characters and this political climate, these little bits of lore here, there, here, there, and then all of a sudden everything about this fantasy world, and you don't even realize you're so that's what we're trying to do.
Alex McConnell, the world has changed. I feel it in the water. I feel it in the earth. I smell it in the air. It's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, might just steal that.
Cool. So, does anyone have any questions regarding story stuff?
Yeah.
Or any questions at all?
Any story questions you got?
We're coming up to our last little bullet point here.
Last bullet
if you got
point.
Any questions?
Story was our big one we were excited to tell you guys about. We're gonna have probably another live stream in a month or two, depending on.
Alex says, "Don't steal that, please."
Okay,
all right, you got it. No problem.
Hey, if it shows up, it shows up. We'll see.
No,
yeah, we'll probably have another live stream in a month or two.
It's not theirs.
Okay.
That's why.
And so we will be able to elaborate more on stuff, and we might have another activity to do.
Mr. Kishi, is our opposing character going to be in the pilot? Any development of her you can share? Yes, Ash will be in the pilot. Yeah. She will be in the first scene, actually.
First 5 minutes of the episode.
Development of her, you'll get to see what kind of a woman she is, and her iron resolve. You will absolutely. The Amberwood lady. Yes.
She is.
Yes,
we just talked about that, actually.
Yeah, we did just talk about it. She is going to be in it. It'll be a small bit, but she will be there, and at least in the first episode, she will be there.
Yeah,
she'll have more of a role later on.
Yeah, Ulysine, but she will be there. We have actually a point in the story that is very natural for her. Scott says, when it comes down to writing, what is your favorite part? Dialogue, lore, twists, visualizations of the scene, etc.
I like screenwriting because I love dialogue. I love writing dialogue. It's I like doing dialogue, and I'd like to think I'm pretty decent at it.
Yeah, you're better than me. So
I don't at the part in my writing career, I would love to write a novel one day, but I just can't. There's just so much extra stuff to write.
Yeah.
Where I can write literally what you are seeing, and I don't have to be I don't have to do it in prose.
Yeah, you just want to tell someone a story and then have them write it for you.
Yeah, if I had the money.
Yeah.
It's like, here, let you write this for me. But no, I think doing the dialogue is the best part, because that's where watching a movie. Okay, so you have your plays, you have your books, and you have your movies. with a book, you can literally just tell your audience what your character is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
In a play, they have to say what they're thinking, right? Because there's no other way to show it. In film, which is why I think I like film the best, is there are so many different ways you can show what a character is thinking without literally them saying it out loud or doing some sort of voice in their head kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of where film gets super creative, and the difference between good and bad film is people who can show a lot without telling a lot. And like, dialogue is great, and dialogue is very important to a story. You know, you have to have good dialogue, but ultimately with film, you really want to have a lot of visuals, and you want to have a lot of showing, and not characters saying, you know, just talking through exposition, because then it's boring.
There's the show, not tell. Show your audience something that you want them to know, not just let a character go just mouth vomit all some lore at you like I just did earlier.
And to answer your question, Scott, personally for me, I really like visualizing the scene. I really like getting into the meat of it and like figuring out, you know, I guess the blocking of the scene, the action of the scene, what is actually going to be in it, and kind of piecing that together. I enjoy writing. I'm not great at dialogue, but I think I enjoy the structure of everything and seeing it come together in a satisfying way. I think that's my favorite part.
There's also a big difference between a person who is just a screenwriter and then people who are filmmakers, who are, we're writing it and we're making it. And so, you know, it's really cool because we'll get to a part and John and I can go, oh yeah, and for this scene, you know, we want to do a match cut over here, and you know, when
we have that advantage.
When this scene look really cool doing this. So
yeah, that's a big advantage to being screenwriter and filmmaker, and that's why a lot of very famous directors are writers. You know, Tarantino is writing, and when he writes his scripts, he even writes what camera, like he's writing it and visualizing camera of what it's going to do,
because he's doing it. He's doing it all.
So we do have that benefit. It does end up being, you know, 10 times more work for us, because it's like, hey, we know where we want this set, we know where we want this thing to be, we know what action we want here, what shot we want here, but then, you know, it's a lot more work for us. So but if anyone else has any more questions about the story, any questions about our characters, the Wayfarers, the Order, feel free to drop it. But we're gonna just move into our next section, but just feel free to ask us. You want to start, James?
You can take this one.
Okay. So a small but important update. We've entered the Wayfarer into a couple of film festivals. We kind of planned from the start to do it just for fun. You know, we ideally would have entered it and used it to gain publicity for our Kickstarter, but with everything that happened with COVID, pretty much every event got canceled.
Yeah.
So that kind of got put on hold. But there's still like a lot of digital film festivals, and there's a lot of you know, fun online. Just, you know, people are finding creative ways to have film festivals. So we submitted to probably what?
I will say 7 or 8
film festivals. You know, we'll see what happens. If anything, you know, getting some extra money for the story, getting some more exposure, you know, I think at
the very least someone's watching the Wayfarer out there. 7 people are watching the Wayfarer, which is cool.
We pay for 7 more views, and yeah, and I think ultimately when we're done with our pilot, we're going to be entering it into a lot of film festivals as well, because there's a lot of pilot festivals and a lot of different ways that you can get kind of free exposure for your pilot. So once we're done with Tavern Brawl pilot, we're going to be thinking a lot more about that, and so, but just figured it, you know, as a cool update to share with everyone. And you want to go?
Cool. To the next one, our next and the last one. This one's really exciting because it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and when I suggested it to John, he was totally on board. So we are going to be doing a audio drama podcast that takes place in the world of Tavern Brawl, and it's going to be called Greywall, and it's going to follow the story of Greywall during his prime.
In his younger days. And so we've been just kind of on the side developing this, getting ideas for kind of what Greywall was up to in his youth and how he got to where he is today. And so we're really, really, really excited for this. And like I said, Greywall is our favorite character. He is very special to me, and so he's one of the most integral characters for our world, I think.
Absolutely.
Like he has he's got a very, very cool backstory, and he's got quite a bit of history, and lore behind him. And one thing we wanted to talk about with this is that we are in development of it, and it's kind of on our back burner. It's an idea we've had for a while. We are not actively developing it right now, which means we are not writing scripts for it. This story that we've come up with Greywall has kind of helped us to piece together where Greywall is at. So we already have Greywall's backstory, but we are at an advantage with COVID-19. If James and I get to a point during production where we cannot do anything, I mean, we will always have stuff to do.
Yeah, there will be stuff to do,
but when it comes down to we run out of time. When we run out of things to do, and we have extra time before we can physically start doing things in terms of like building a set, casting people, things like that, we're going to be working on this. And if we are lucky and we are able to fully do the pre-production of Tavern Brawl and then immediately move into production, this is going to be something that we work on after the pilot is for the most part done. And so we want to make sure people know that no resources, time, money, or anything is being diverted from the pilot to work on this, because as fun as it is to like start another project when you're working on one already, we want to make sure that Tavern Brawl is as good as we can make it. And so when this podcast happens, it happens. We're really excited about it. We've got a cool story planned out, and it's not going to be as much work as doing a pilot, and it's going to supplement our story quite a bit.
Absolutely. You'll be able to hear about what Greywall does,
and it'll set up our story, so it'll work well even if it happens after the pilot or before. Pilot.
Either way, it'll be
really
cool to hear.
Yeah, so we're excited about it. I think that we are, we have it on the back burner, but we are not afraid to start working on it if we, have the time to.
Mr. Kichi asks, what is your guys' schedule like during this time of prepping for production? John and I meet once a week currently, and then essentially we talk story, we talk business,
talk everything. We have pretty much a day-long meeting.
Yeah, it's
every
like
Friday.
It's like a 6-hour meeting every Friday, and we talk about everything. We break into the story, we talk about business, to production, pre-production, all this sort of stuff. Maybe watch a funny video or two.
Tell some jokes.
Yeah, and then during that meeting, we kind of sparse out what to do for the next meeting. And the reason we do that is because I work 10-hour shifts at my normal job, because I also have to work a normal job to pay rent. And so, after a 10-hour shift, I'm just so wiped when I get home. But I have Fridays off, and so we're able to have that long meeting.
Yep, Friday's Tavern Brawl day, and we usually during the week we both kind of designate projects for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
When we're writing, it's like, hey, you write this scene, I'll write this scene. We'll come together on Friday, review it, and read and but we're still working on it throughout the week, and we're texting each other and sending
absolutely
things like that. Question is there anything that you need from your community during this building phase?
I mean, we've started to reach out about props and costumes and stuff. So if there's anyone interested in doing stuff like that, we do have we
have a Google Doc, right?
We have a Google something.
Yeah, I think as we get closer to filming, we're gonna be reaching out a lot more, because we're gonna need a lot of help. We're gonna need people on set. We're just gonna we're gonna need extras. We're gonna need people helping us with moving stuff, building stuff. We're gonna need people, maybe even we're gonna need help with a lot of stuff right now in the pre-production phase. Like James said, if it's something you're interested in, helping with costumes, if you have a particular skill, blacksmithing, if you're good at art, pre-production phase.
Oh gosh.
Like James said, if you're good at anything that you think could be useful, feel free to sign up. Even if you're not located in Oregon, we'd love to get everybody's help. And if you're just interested in it, and
I mean, really anything, acting, if you're interested in doing anything at all with the project and helping in any way, I just dropped it into the Facebook chat. Let me go to Twitch real quick.
Right now we are really going to be looking for a warehouse soon, as we talked about earlier, as we get into fall, winter. That's going to be our biggest thing, is in Oregon, looking for a warehouse to film in that is affordable and is something that, because we have the biggest issue is we will not be signing a year-long lease, because we will not be filming for a year. Thank goodness.
That's a waste of money there.
So yeah, we have to find someone who's willing to work with us on a lease. We have to find someone who's willing to work with a film crew and is willing to, we have to find a warehouse that's big enough, that's accessible, that's, far away enough from road noise. And then, for filming in winter, we have to think about heat. We have to think about
rain and cold.
And so that's going to be our biggest thing we need help with the community. Is if you know of anything, reach out to one of us, sign up on the forum, keep a lookout. If you pass by something, and you see it, let us know. We're going to be looking more in the fall, depending on the COVID situation, but that is probably our biggest thing. But like we said earlier, if you have any skill, if that you'd like to be involved, please absolutely help sign up on the forum, and that'd be huge to us. We're not going to be able to do this without everyone's help.
No way.
Yeah, this and having everyone's help doing the Wayfarer and with the Kickstarter and everything has meant so much to us.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully when this is all done, this can feel like something that we're all proud of and we've all created in this kind of world. And hopefully we're able to do it, and then we're able to keep doing it and do like a whole first season, and everyone who's involved will definitely be able to come back and help us film a real first season of a show, which would be awesome.
Which would be incredible.
Yeah. So but I think that brings us to the end of our bulleted points.
Yep, that's
so now we're going to open it up to some questions. If you have any questions at all, it doesn't really have to be about anything we talked about, just any questions in general, feel free to drop them in chat and we will answer them.
Let's see. Gwinswift, what is the most exciting thing to you guys about this project? Oh, just creating something that somebody will watch. I mean, that's super cool. I mean, getting to create your own story and see it come to life. It was pretty surreal for the Wayfarer, at least at first, once John and I have watched it,
1,000 times.
100 plus times and can recite it probably still, even now. But but no, just making something this big, and it's incredible, and having a community come together and bolster you while you do it is really wild.
Yeah, I think I agree with James. Seeing something that you have worked on so long and so hard just slowly come together, because I think there was just a few moments that James and I had where we saw things come together. When we were on set for the first time and we had Josh sit down in his outfit and we had all the lights and everything set up and he said his line, and then even when we just had him doing ADR, when we were sitting at the edit table and we did a cut, just slowly seeing come together all the way to the premiere and getting to sit and watch and listen to everybody watch it. It's just an awesome experience. I'm excited to do it all again on a bigger scale.
Caleb asks, blacksmithing, ? Yes, if you do any blacksmithing, the more blacksmiths, the better.
And any wants or dreams for the premiere of the pilot, another party? We'll probably do something. We got to do it.
COVID willing, we'll have another party, a bigger party this time.
Yeah, we'll have a
bigger party with lots of food, and
hopefully, I'm hoping, if for anyone who's involved, we will have a wrap party in the tavern.
Yeah, that would be rad.
Whenever we're done filming, we're gonna leave the tavern set up, and we're gonna have a big party in the tavern, and maybe even a Tavern Brawl at the end. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. A Tavern Brawl. We can make a bounce house tavern, and everyone can just go at it.
Caleb says you should put up a list of props that you're hoping people can donate. I think that's a good idea. I think as we get closer and finishing our script, we're going to have to just make a list of, hey, this is every costume we need, this is every prop we need, this is every, and so I think, yes, we will probably make that public, and especially when we kind of take into account what we have, then what we need, we'll make a list public and say, hey, we need, if you have this, especially, within your network, James. So.
Yeah, my SC network. Pat Windu asks, how many waves of 5th graders do you think you could take on? They come in waves of 10, and every 10th wave is a 6th grade boss. What do you think?
I guess it depends. 10 5th graders. That might be difficult. 5th graders can be like starting puberty.
Yeah, I've worked with 5th graders at some of the elementary schools I've worked at.
I've seen some tall ones.
Absolutely. I don't know. I mean, waves.
I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could even take one wave. It depends how mean they are.
How mean the 5th graders are.
10 5th graders coming up, just like, that'd be hard.
I think I could take one wave, and then
and
maybe the 6th grade boss, and then after that is
yeah,
I'm done for. Well, I guess it also I'm assuming this is all just like wrestling, hand-to-hand combat,
or is this straight up like
is this warfare
fight to the death?
Yeah.
Yeah. 3rd graders. 3rd graders are no problem.
Yeah, 3rd graders easy. Easy peasy. Grab the little ones as weapons.
Start swinging them.
Start swinging them around. Nikki says they can be a little scary.
Yeah, I'm
6th
sure.
grade boss still though.
Depends.
Yeah, depends. Absolutely.
I'm trying to think.
Have you guys thought about any advertising yet? Not yet. We're just not. We're just not at a point where we can start advertising anything. I mean, we post the Wayfarer every now and then. I mean, I've watched it a couple of times since there's the end of the Kickstarter.
This is going to be a lot different than the Wayfarer because we are not going to be doing a Kickstarter for this, so it's not going to be as like trying to get people to watch it. It's going to be more us trying to sell it to distributors, different companies. We're going to be trying to reach out and go more of that scene in terms of like getting
funding for a full season
instead of like a worldwide release of Tavern Brawl pilot, which it may come to that. We'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, what you all saw when we started advertising was nearly 2.5 years of prep work before we even showed our first picture of what we did. And so, and now that we kind of have a little bit of a following and people are they're looking forward to this. We do these updates to keep people informed, and the Grey Wall podcast is something that we want to
bring in some new people.
Bring in some new people, and John and I have talked about doing other avenues of ways to tell stories, and but people paid for pilot of Tavern Brawl, and so that's what we want to deliver.
Yep.
Tavern Brawl video game, who would you want to make it, and would it be first person or third person? I have thought of this, and I would love to do a VR Tavern Brawl game where you're and that's literally it. It's just you're just beating people up in the tavern.
Yeah,
that would be really fun. And then of course, if we were going the route of a narrative game, I would do a third person game set during the Betrayal War, where you get to play a Wayfarer.
Yeah,
and that would be made by oh man, if I could have Naughty Dog make it. Whew.
That'd be awesome.
Anyone who wants to make that, actually, just let me know. We'll talk.
Can't pay you much, but if you want to make it, yeah. If you want to make us a AAA game for free,
When you did the Kickstarter, did we hit a stretch goal? Any updates on that? We did hit one stretch goal for a tavern song and music video. We have contacted our guy who does our music, and he is kind of disappears from time to time. And so last time I talked to him was in May, I believe, and he said he was working on it, and I haven't seen anything yet. So we might be exploring some different avenues for that. And for music video, I mean, obviously once the song is done, we'll think of something creative to do for a music video.
Yeah, we have the song written and the tune for the most part.
Yeah, we have the melody.
Yeah, and so that is,
which is actually written by Brendan, my brother Brendan Murray.
Yeah, it's not high up on our priorities, but it is going to be something that everyone is going to get, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a fun music video. And then we're also looking for Tavern Brawl. It's just going to be full of music, because that's the heart and soul of a tavern.
Yeah, it's going to start off with some awesome music. Like the very first thing you hear.
Very first thing you hear will be a fun song. And then we all sing the song at the party.
Everyone's got to learn it.
Everyone will. Let's see. Can I remember the tune? There you go. There's a little snippet for
Beautiful.
you. And fun fact, we were actually going to have Josh sing that tune at the beginning of, or at the end of the Wayfarer, but it just didn't end up panning out.
It worked out better because we got the other song, Josh's song.
No. Well, the other Josh Lowe song was going to be in there regardless, but
yeah,
right
trailing.
Directly after the credit thing.
Yeah, have him hum it.
He was supposed to be humming it, and it just didn't work out. Okay.
Yeah. Anyone got any final questions for us before we sign off?
Before we wrap it up.
It actually is raining here now. So for Elizabeth who didn't believe me, it's raining here. Eddie says yes, VR Tavern Brawl would be awesome. I agree.
Oh yeah, I would have so much fun. You could pick up the drinks and throw them, throw chicken
Yeah, it'd be
legs
kind of
at
like
people.
the VR bar fight game.
Yeah.
But medieval, and you can do some spells and stuff. That'd be awesome.
Will you guys make a cameo in the pilot? At the very least, we'll make a cameo.
Oh yeah, we will be in the pilot.
We will be in the pilot.
Of course. Hopefully no speaking roles for me, but we'll see. I don't know. I might be getting my ass beat in the Tavern Brawl.
We'll
see.
Just getting spanked in the background.
Or I'll just get killed the first 5 seconds. I'm okay with that.
Elizabeth says she believes you now, and Ben is loving the bathroom.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
That's her dog.
Oh,
he's
he doesn't
afraid
like
of the
it.
rain.
Oh.
Yeah.
Poor buddy. Cool. Okay. Well, if there aren't any other questions popping up, I think we'll sign off. We'll give it another minute or two.
Yeah, we plan on doing another live stream, maybe a month or two. We're going to kind of take it as it goes. We want to make sure and have like a big enough update that it's not just like, oh,
It's just like, well, we're still still the same thing we were doing last time.
Yeah, I think we're gonna we'll have one again soon, and so if there's no more questions, thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thank you all so much. We really appreciate it.
Yep. I think we shared some exciting stuff, and feel free to, if you feel like you have something to add, click that link that we dropped on Twitch and on Facebook.
I believe it's pinned on Facebook.
And yeah, we're gonna be hopefully posting some more stuff soon, and we appreciate all the support.
Yeah, and always feel free to reach out if you have any questions or comments or anything like that. Alrighty, I think that's it.
All right,
everyone, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yep, catch you guys later.
We'll do a little transition back to our.
Oh yeah, give us the Tavern Brawl theme again.
Yeah, we'll give you the Tavern Brawl theme.
Take it away, James.
All right, you mute yourself, big guy.